The evolution of Wednesday Addams. The old school but well-loved sitcom, The Addams Family, that first aired in 1964, is the first television appearance of Wednesday and her family. Lisa Loring's portrayal of Wednesday Addams contributed to the character's enduring popularity. Wednesday became known for her morbid, deadpan demeanor and fascination with darker elements. She typically appeared with her long, dark hair in twin braids, and was often seen wearing a black dress with the white collar, reflecting her gothic style. The episodic format allowed the show to explore different scenarios that Wednesday and her family found themselves in. Wednesday found joy in things others would find disturbing, like raising spiders and beheading dolls. The intro theme introduced the classic theme tune, complete with the whole cast snapping their fingers. This one is old but gold, a true classic US sitcom, and set the groundwork for every Addams Family movie or show that would follow.
Well, you wouldn't have got a sock in the eye if you hadn't said your family was better than our family.
In the crossover episode titled Wednesday is Missing, the Scooby-Doo gang teams up with the Addams Family to solve a mystery. Wednesday Addams goes missing, leading Scooby-Doo and his friends to join forces with the Addams Family to find her. Wednesday is voiced by Cindy Henderson. In the show, Wednesday is shown wearing a pink dress rather than the traditional black, as the studio tested the waters on how the Addams Family and Wednesday could be presented in an animated kids show, with this being a pseudo-pilot for an Addams Family animated series. This was well received at the time, and remains a cherished moment from the early days of TV crossovers.
Sure, I'm fine. I had Homer to keep me company. My pet spider. He makes a groovy yo-yo.
In 1973, an animated revival of the Addams Family story was aired. It only ran for one season at 16 episodes, and Cindy Henderson again provided the voice for Wednesday. Again, Wednesday's classic black dress look was out in favor of the same pink used in the Scooby-Doo crossover, making this a completely different version of the character than we were used to over the previous decade. The animated format allowed for the strange and eccentric style of the original live-action series to be amplified, with the fantastical nature of the stories turned up to 11. At the same time, it being an animated show meant that younger audiences could fall in love with Wednesday and her family for the first time. A memorable episode featured Wednesday choosing to visit the roller derby for her 13th birthday celebration, and the family are soon in the middle of a bitter rivalry between the angels and the demons, resulting in the Addams Family playing on the side of the angels. This one sticks as a childhood staple, enjoyed by multiple generations. Even though it only got 13 episodes in a single season, the Addams Family has remained a cult classic and has sustained a dedicated fan base over the years.
I can't understand it, Lurch. Why do you start shaking like a leaf every time I mention your pen pal's hometown?
Aired in 1977, Halloween with the New Addams Family revived the characters from the original 1960s The Addams Family series. It reunited most of the original cast. Lisa Loring returned, but played an older version of Wednesday in the special, now too old to play a child. Jennifer Surprenant stepped in to play a younger version of Wednesday, with the look taken straight from the original series. It was an interesting twist to have two Wednesday Addams on screen. Throughout the special, Wednesday is involved in the family's Halloween reunion plans and foiling the attempted swindle of the Addams fortune by Gomez's brother and his crooked lawyer. This was a pilot for a potential reboot of the classic show, and you can see why it wasn't picked up. The colors popped too much, and it was all a bit too bright and colorful.
Hello, Wednesday Jr. Hello, Pugsley Jr.
The long-awaited big screen adaptation finally arrived in 1991. The cast was stellar in this movie, which included Christopher Lloyd as Fester. A young Christina Ricci made Wednesday her own. Portraying the character closely to the original on-screen version with black hair and braids, a pale gothic look, and a black dress with a white collar, Ricci delivered a memorable performance as Wednesday in her breakout role. Even though she was only 10, she stood out in auditions and was allowed to play Wednesday on the big screen. She captured the essence of the character with her deadpan delivery and dry sense of humor, and the performance is pretty iconic. Ricci reportedly had to undergo relaxation exercises to remain a calm and serious expression on set. One of the most memorable parts of the movie involves Wednesday's experience at a public school after her parents decide to enroll her and her brother Pugsley to experience a normal education. As you can imagine, it doesn't end well, with her interest in the occult and morbid themes terrifying her fellow students. The film drew inspiration from Charles Addams' original cartoons rather than directly from the 1960s TV show, and that's probably why it was such a huge success.
It has to warm up.
Why?
So it can kill you.
The success of the Addams Family movie in 1991 led to a new animated series, which aired in 1992 and got 2 seasons. It featured a different voice cast from the live-action movie, with Debi Derryberry voicing Wednesday Addams in this animated show. The look was slightly different too. The hair and pale complexion remained, but in this show, Wednesday wore pink tights, and instead of a black collar dress, it was blue. This could have been to distinguish her more from Morticia in the animation style. Some episodes of the animated series adapted storylines from Charles Addams' original cartoons, bringing to life scenarios and characters that had previously only existed in comic form. One memorable episode that focused on Wednesday is where she becomes fed up with her brother continuously ruining her paintings. She decides to create an improved Pugsley with her mother's living paints, but it doesn't go as planned. With the help of the real Pugsley, she exterminates the alternative Pugsley and admits that her brother is perfect. The updated theme song was composed by Vic Mizzy, who also created the iconic theme for the original live-action series. A generation grew up with the show, and it once again opened up the Addams Family to a new, younger audience. The theme song is iconic, but this isn't the best Addams Family show.
And friend Lurch, in her proud tradition, you can experience the sights and sounds of Adams Falls solo. Bon voyage, Lurch!
The 1991 film being so successful meant that a sequel was inevitable, with Addams Family Values hitting theaters in 1993. Christina Ricci reprises her role as Wednesday in this movie and shares a storyline with Pugsley when they are sent to Camp Chippewa, a seemingly cheerful and upbeat summer camp where conformity is encouraged. The Addams kids find it hard to conform, and this opens up for plenty of laughs. At the camp, Wednesday befriends other children who, like her, feel out of place in the overly cheerful environment. Together, they plot to disrupt the camp's traditional Thanksgiving play with their own macabre and subversive vision. The summer camp storyline stands out as a brilliant foil for what's going on with the rest of the family. Ricci's ability to play Wednesday so deadpan, looking depressed but somehow like she's enjoying it, makes Wednesday one of the most likable characters in both of the movies she starred in. This movie won 3 Oscars, and it's such a great adaptation. It really is the perfect sequel to the first movie.
Our parents are having a baby, too. They had sex.
In 1998, a direct-to-TV movie aired titled Addams Family Reunion, and is practically a remake of the 1977 Halloween with the new Addams Family story. Sadly, it suffers the same fate as it really doesn't hit the mark. Nicole Fugere portrayed Wednesday Addams this time out. Still, Christina Ricci's shadow loomed large, as was the case for the rest of the cast, who just couldn't live up to the expectations set by the previous cast. Wednesday's look in this movie is more normal goth kid than it is in previous adaptations, and it just doesn't work as well. This one sucks pretty bad, but it did lead to a revival of Addams Family on TV screens.
Well, that was a challenge. Got any other games?
Nicole Fugere returned as Wednesday Addams for the Canadian-American show The New Addams Family that aired in 1998 and ran for just 1 season, but a huge 65 episodes. While the show stayed true to the eccentricities and dark humor of the Addams Family, it was set in contemporary times, fusing modern elements into the series while maintaining the core characteristics of the original characters. Wednesday's look was dialed back a little, and it paid off, making her feel a bit more like past interpretations of the character, but in a modern sense, and less like the normal goth kid look from the reunion movie. Some people enjoyed this new take on the iconic show, but it isn't really true to the original, and isn't worth watching unless you're a die-hard Addams Family fan.
Oh no, it's true. There is a Santa Claus.
If you thought the 2022 Wednesday show was the first time an older Wednesday Addams was the focus of attention, you'd be totally wrong. Don't worry, we'll get to that show soon enough. But first, we have to mention this web series called Adult Wednesday Addams by Melissa Hunter, who also played the title role. The show charts Wednesday as an adult as she navigates through typical everyday situations anyone would find themselves in. Clearly, a show made by a true fan of the character, Wednesday looks almost perfect, as if she's been cut from the 1960s show and placed into Hunter's stories. aged into an adult. You'd be forgiven for not knowing about it. It was a short-lived affair, despite the writing being recognized for the witty take on modern-day scenarios seen through the eyes of a beloved fictional character, but it attracted a cease and desist request from the rights holders of the Addams Family franchise for the use of the intellectual property without permission. If you missed it, you're not missing anything earth-shattering here.
Wielding power over your husband won't save your marriage. It will only make him feel smothered, which will inevitably lead him to smother you with a pillow in your sleep.
In 2019, fans were treated to an animated movie which brought a new stylistic approach to the Addams Family. Chloe Grace Moretz becomes the next Hollywood A-lister to star as Wednesday. The movie presents the characters in a CGI animated format, which means Wednesday's look is exaggerated in a way that live action hasn't been able to do. The character designs pay homage to Charles Addams' original illustrations, which means Wednesday has a long face, powder white skin, and is like a skeleton, completed by the classic black hair with braids and a dark blue-green dress with a white collar. Despite mixed reviews, the Addams Family performed reasonably well at the box office, grossing over $200 million worldwide. Wednesday retains her characteristic deadpan humor, intelligence, and fascination with the darker aspects of life. She is shown as independent, wise, and unafraid to embrace her unique personality. In the story, Wednesday befriends the daughter of a conformist family when the Addams Family moves to a new suburban home. This causes friction between the two families as polar opposites of each other. The story in this one is a bit predictable, but it's a great family film to enjoy together with the kids without things getting too dark.
Farewell, Brother Pugsley. Tomorrow you become a man, and I become a fugitive.
The success of the first animated Addams Family movie led to the sequel, which released in 2021. Chloe Grace Moretz reprised her role for the follow-up. The sequel, like its predecessor, received mixed reviews from critics. However, it performed reasonably well at the box office, continuing to attract audiences with its distinctive animation style and the quirky charm of the Addams Family. Wednesday was a standout, along with Pugsley and Fester, who Wednesday transmutes to have a squid's tentacle as part of her school science project right at the start of the movie. The family embarks on a cross-country road trip in a haunted camper, which takes inspiration from the 1973 animated series. Throughout the journey, she experiences various misadventures, encounters quirky characters, and contributes her own unique perspective to the family's escapades. If you didn't like the first one, you won't like the sequel. But again, this is a family-friendly animated adventure that the kids will love.
You have traumatized me beyond all recognition.
Then, Wednesday got her first official standalone series courtesy of Netflix. Simply titled Wednesday, it follows the story of Wednesday as a teenager, and Jenna Ortega made the character iconic. I mean, that dance scene broke the internet. TikTok was full of people copying the moves for months. The look of the character was brought up to date, styling it up to more modern standards, but keeping that classic black hair, gothic look with white collars, and plenty of black in her wardrobe. It isn't a cut and paste of the original look, but it's a faithful upstyling of Wednesday's classic image for today's audience. This isn't what you'd expect from an Addams Family show. It's basically a coming-of-age supernatural comedy horror series. It follows Wednesday's years as a student at the Nevermore Academy, where she attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, thwart a killing spree, and solve a mystery that embroiled her parents. In a surprising turn of events, Christina Ricci, known for her iconic portrayal of Wednesday Addams in the 1990s films, took on a new role in the Addams Family universe. This time, she played the main villain, Mrs. Thornhill. The series received mixed reviews. It was described as a dark, compelling murder mystery with a magnetic performance from Jenna Ortega. But some people thought the writing was a little lackluster. That didn't stop the show from becoming one of only a few Netflix shows to rack up 1 billion hours of views in a month. Not bad going for a show with supposedly weak writing, huh? Netflix didn't hesitate to announce in 2023 that Wednesday will return for a second season, promising more torture in a teaser. This is a great modern twist on the character, but if you're looking for something that sticks super close to the original Addams Family vibes, this isn't that. Still, it transformed Jenna Ortega into a household name overnight.
If trouble means standing up to lies, decades of discrimination, centuries of treating outcasts like second-class citizens.
I'm ready for the zone.
Yeah, but losing. Whoa!
never tasted so sweet.
How are they going to, do it?
Do you prefer the classic quirky feel or something darker and smarter like the Netflix show? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next pop culture evolution content. See you in the next one.